And we're back after Golden Guardians Challengers pick up a win, and Balulu getting the Vel'Koz in Game 1 Magical, so I was right.
Hey, I gave you credit.
Yeah, I think you gotta direct that to me, I'm gonna be honest.
Unfortunately, it did not pick up a win. Looked good in laning phase, though, Beatdown. I mean, he was kind of harassing the Akali as best as he could.
I mean, look, man, that's what's supposed to happen. I'd be really concerned otherwise. And I will admit, I think Balulu played a lot of those early skirmishes well. I think it's the credit we got to give to Rose Thorn in particular. I think in this early game, really taking command of it, especially with all that attention he put on the bottom side. Punishing Wixie and Joey, just putting this Draven in the dirt. And I mean, at this point, it's kind of what happens when you pick that kind of champion. You put a target on your back, especially when someone like Sejuani's on the other side.
Yeah, it was cool to see the Draven come out. But while the players are getting ready for game number 2, pick and ban, we like to have some fun during our halftime segments here. So we're playing a new game here. Because I don't know if either of you realize this, or many of the audience members realize this. We've been trying to step up a little bit of the production game for our content, for our Twitter game and our pre-show content. And graphic design is my passion. So I have constructed something here. It is only slightly a monstrosity on your eyes. So if we can one-box me production, we're going to build a player card for Balulu. We're also going to go with Young based on how they played the last game. Now, you can see that the categories that we have to build off of are threat level, hands, leadership, mental, and creativity. So, Beatdown, give me the threat level of Balulu. How do we feel his threat is as a player?
Overall,
out of 10. 0 to 10.
It's hard with only 3 games to...
Yeah, I mean... I'm gonna say... Give him a 6.
Yeah.
Give him a 6.
Give him a 6.
We're given okay, it's populating. It's kind of hard to see, but it is populating right there. Once we get the next one in, it'll look a little bit better. So 6 out of threat. Why are we only giving him a 6 based on the last game's performance?
It'd be a 6 or 7 in my opinion.
It's not.
So.
I think it's just like overall performance, where like I think he showed us some really high highs with the Zoe. But I remember a second game yesterday, and I mean he did play well today, but it wasn't like as insane or carry. That's why I'm going for now with a 6.
Threat level 6. Magical. Hands. How are Balulu's hands? What do we feel about him?
Again, it's hard. I mean, if you look at his Zoe game, that'd be like a 10, right?
I think
but it's like, but I'm not gonna go with
10?
like a 10. I'm not gonna go with a 10.
Oh, no, not the 10.
I said if you only look at that game. So I'd probably give him like a 7.
I think 7.
Yeah.
Modest, okay, but I still think appropriate based on what we've seen so far.
Right. Leadership.
This one's a little harder because we don't maybe have as big of insight into what's going on. But Beatdown, if you had to give Balulu a leadership based on what you saw in the games, where do you think that ranks at?
I mean, like you said, we don't know too much, so I'm gonna guess, especially because he's new. And I was talking to Chad, he specifically mentioned how they're still trying to figure out where he fits in the dynamic. I'm gonna go for like a 3.
3, okay.
I can't imagine he's just gonna, come in first day, tell everyone what to do,
Yeah, I mean, the new guy, this probably could increase based on his experience that he's bringing on, but early on.
True.
What about mental, Magical? What do you feel about Balulu's mental from the tape that we've seen so far?
And it's hard to say from the tape, but from what I've heard, his mental's pretty good. So I'd actually probably give it about an 8.
Oh.
8.
Yeah,
all right.
From what I've heard behind the scenes. That's what mine's based off of.
And then finally, Beatdown creativity. I mean, look at the champ pool. I feel like this one's got to be fairly high.
We already know what this one is.
I don't know. It's so early for us doing this bit. I'm going to say 9.
Yeah, 9.
Okay,
10,
all right.
10's too high. 10's too
10
high.
requires a lot of confidence. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So, threat level 6, hands 7, leadership 3 based on what we know so far, mental 8, creativity 9. Now let's take a look because I did actually reach out to both Joshi and Cubby ahead of time to get their thoughts on Balulu as a player. So let's take a look at what they said. And maybe they didn't take this as seriously. Because, Vel'Koz ban should be a 10. I think Golden Guardians already failed that from Cubby's perspective. Joshi's just listing body parts. He's got the whole head, shoulders, knees, and toes.
And then threat.
But then threat, he still has pretty high.
Wait,
so
why,
I think...
why is toes max? What did I miss?
Yeah, I'm missing that
you know
one,
what?
too.
I'm not,
If he plays
I don't really question what
if he plays
Joshi puts.
Vel'Koz, there's
He
no
has
toes.
no toes. I was
Yeah.
thinking
Okay,
that too.
all right. Well, that's Balulu. Let's take a look at Young. Young is the next one that I want to highlight here, obviously, as a mid laner. First, let me change the stats all back to 0. So that way he's not stealing Balulu's stats.
Friends call him Young Alien.
Friends do call him Young Alien. We ran into some of his friends at the LCS games. Oh, no, I'm cutting off part of his head. It's okay. We'll fix it in post.
Yeah, about that.
Yeah,
but also an OG in the amateur scene. Cup,
True.
Risen, UPL, P1, Big, Focus, Scouting Grounds, back when that was a thing, Tyler 1 Championship. Like, Young's been around for quite a while. So what do we think about his threat, Magical? If you had to rate Young's threat level.
I mean, I think Young's got a lot of talent, so I'd probably put him at about like an 8.
An 8.
Yeah.
I like that. Starting off strong.
I think he's still got some room to grow, but you know, I have confidence in Young.
Beatdown, give me hands real quick so that way we can actually see the graph populate.
I think Hands is also an 8.
That's what I would put too.
Yeah.
Boom. Well-rounded so far. Leadership, Magical. What would you have to gander?
I don't think he's much of a leader, if I recall. I think that's more Prismal, so I'd probably put it at like a 4.
He's still pretty young. I mean, not just because that's his name, but, you know, just because oftentimes we expect the more experienced players to have more of a leadership role. What about mental, Beatdown?
I have, like, no information, but I'm going to say, like, 7 because he played in LCS for the first time as a sub and honestly held his own.
Pretty good.
So I think that's, like, you know, you got to give credit for that.
That's
Agreed.
pretty good. All right, creativity. Final thoughts, Magical.
Probably a 6. I know he's got his Aurelia, but it's like he usually plays pretty standard things. He'll practice a lot of meta.
Could you define creativity? Is it just champ picks? Is it how you play?
I know that's like that one's a hard one because I'm like quantifying
it's a little ambiguous, and I'm happy it's a little ambiguous. But this is what we think about Young so far.
But the thing is, even still, I like based off like the creativity of play, I probably still would put it at a 6 because
okay,
he
then
plays.
we're happy with
let's
that.
take a look at how Cubby and Joshi rank him. If we look at Cubby and Joshi's rankings, Cubby actually took this one fairly seriously. He does say that he had JoJo diff up at the top for
Nice.
I believe that's just lane, how he performs in lane. Joshi really leaning in on the bottom half of his graph.
So he did change heads to threat
pattern.
and leadership. So
He does still have threat and leadership. And hands too, but okay. Well, there you have it. That's Young and Balulu from the eyes, at least, of ourselves from the previous games we've had, and expectations of them going.
Wait a minute. I get why he put 10 for toes and 10 for fingers.
I don't.
Oh, because you have 10.
Oh, because he's got 10. That would make sense.
Well played, Josh.
I don't like it, but you have to respect it to a certain level. You do have to respect it.
Don't hate the player.
But the reason we wanted to highlight them is because both of them have very interesting stories coming in. Based on their first meeting against each other, though, the creative pick from Balulu did not work out. I'm going to give this... It did work in lane. So, okay, Magical, if you're opinionated on this, then, do you think that they run it back? Is this something where Golden Guardians had the correct read? You don't need to ban out Vel'Koz, not meta enough, you can counter it? Or should they still respect it and you want to see Balulu kind of go back towards that playstyle?
Honestly, I think 3 plays don't happen for Immortals that were partially like unforced errors. That game actually it would be more Immortals favored personally. So I think that their draft actually was pretty solid. I just think that there's certain like Chad got a little too aggressive, didn't really have the read from his bot lane to rotate up in time to make sure they can defend the Krugs, as well as the repeat gank into the bot lane after Wixie had blown both Flash and Cleanse pretty much sealed the fate that Draven wasn't going to bounce back into that game.
Blame Chad. Blame the jungler. I love that.
Okay.
I'm not blaming him. I'm not blaming him.
Listen, this isn't solo queue. It's not always the jungler's fault, okay?
Yeah. I'm not blaming him. I'm just saying that there's certain things that if you fix that one little mistake, then this game is completely their favorite. Because you even saw there were those moments for Chad, for Balulu, where they were working really well together. And had they just had maybe even a single shutdown kill in the bot lane, one Adoration Stacks that was cashed in for Wixie, completely different game.
Yeah, that is what you get when you play Draven. You know, you need to get the stacks. Beatdown, we're getting ready to hop into pick and ban. I want to get your final thoughts on the approach that Immortals can take pivoting into a game 2.
I think I agree with Magical for the most part. Draft was okay. It's the early game where things really fell apart. And again, like a lot of credit to Rosethorn for enabling Array to really get this insane lead. Because you think about the bot lane matchup, Zeri, Draven. Zeri's not supposed to have a good time. But when Rosethorn came in and said, well, you see, Array's my little buddy. So my little buddy's going to have a good time. Right, Wixie? It's like, hand to fist. Like, and then, a couple deaths happen in the bottom lane. And it's like, that's what I thought.
All right, so maybe looking more at the bot lane than the mid lane as the focus for Immortals Challengers going into a game number 2. But Golden Guardians strike first in the best of 2 series. I'm hearing that we're ready for pick and ban, so Magical Beatdown. Let's see what they have in store for us for game 2.
That we shall, because we do have a swapping of sides. IMT Challengers will be on the blue side this time around, so they won't have that final counter pick, which means the Vel'Koz might not be as likely, but I'm curious to see if they might run that back, because like we were talking about, the lane phase, how Chad and Balulu were for the first 15 minutes, could have easily overcome a lot of the deficits that were even suffered in bot lane had it just not been so gargantuan, where Rosethorn played very well. Like, sure, the first blood, it's kind of bad that Array is able to get that so he can have red buff and fight back. But even still, he wasn't necessarily in the lead at that point. Wixie was still doing a great job at controlling him until Rosethorn paid a lot of visits.
Right. So I think we might see a switch up from Immortals, especially because sides have swapped out. They banned the Zeri. Maybe they're going to look to give Wixie something more lane dominant. So maybe we see a Caitlyn come through or something along those lines.
That was banned last time by IMTC.
Oh,
so
and
it's going to be on the Golden Guardian side this time.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. The Zeri ban, respect towards Array on that one, as well as that Heimerdinger that was banned previously against Prismal. Another thing that can be very annoying to face off against in lane. But with the swap of sides, that Ryze, the Caitlyn ban, the Ryze had been banned by Golden Guardians when they were on blue side, so they remained that. But Varus and Ashe, one of the 2 champions, will get through. And I'm curious to see which team wants it, because Maokai actually being a blue side ban indicates they want Varus or Ashe. They don't care which.
I think I agree with you. It's probably going to be a first pick Varus angle there, because when you're thinking about the 80 carries that are left, it's basically, at least as far as like meta goes and what's popular, it's Lucian and Varus. And I mean, Varus, you get Lulu, or a bunch of different combinations. You have a really strong laning phase in the bottom lane. So I think that's what Immortals are looking for. Give Wixie another, what's supposed to be a good matchup, and I imagine we're going to see Chad's early game look a little different than what it did before. But Golden Guardians, they recognize that, so they're just not going to let it through.
And they go for Nami. So Lucian, Nami, likely the bot lane that Immortals are going to draft for themselves. That leaves up Ashe, something Prismal was doing a good job of last week playing. So he gets to grab that. I'm curious to see what they want to pair with Ashe. Is it going to be that Jhin that we've kind of been seeing a lot of, trying to look for a little bit of bully potential?
It's very possible. Like, it's going to be the Lucian for Wixie, more than likely on the other side here. And it seems like Golden Guardians, they don't actually want to pick that one yet. Because if this hover is in any indication here, I mean, Rosethorn had a great game on the Sejuani. You still want to be able to have that early influence. So they're just going to go ahead and secure that right away.
I'm also curious to see if we get the ultimate switcheroo from Immortals. Not likely, because Wixie is more of the AD player, but the mage support that Cubby likes to talk about, especially Brand with Nami, could be something that they just decide to throw to the wayside and be like, okay, this is all just fun. This is just them saying, hey, concept buddy, we know what your champ pools are. We want to see you play these, because those are always the fun ones. But it is just the typical Lucian Nami bot lane with Wukong for Chad.
Okay, so a bit of a different look coming through here. So you are going to have a bit of that early
Is it a different... like, it's...
When I say different, I mean a different champion.
Because I'm like, it's same identity, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you are looking to early skirmish a little bit, but I actually think Viego is better at that. But you're playing for level 6 is the biggest thing with Wukong here. And this time around, the Kassadin, they're just going to go ahead and throw it down and say, we'll blind it. I don't care.
Yeah, they're not going to let it go to second fan phase and have that get dropped. So this is interesting.
You know what that tells
like
me, Magical?
What's that?
There's a spicy 80 carry pick for Array. I can feel it.
Oh,
they're saving.
Could we see the ultimate flex of like Ashe actually be the ADC and get like a
maybe?
I'm not saying Jhin support, but like something kind of crazy like that.
Yeah, or if you watch LCK, Callista support. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
If you're not Keria, don't do that. But even Keria,
what do you mean? What do you mean? That's
Keria
great.
Maybe shouldn't have done that. But the point
you
is,
definitely should do
this
that all
time
the time.
around, I think the Zoe ban in particular is a really good look this time around because I mean you're playing into the Kassadin. Zoe will just beat the hell out of him. So you just want to make sure that Young has a decent early lane phase. Because we've seen what this man can do on the Kassadin. So you give him that time, get to level 11, get those first few items coming through here. He is a monster.
So right now, we actually have Cassante banned against Concept. So he will have to play something different. I wonder if it's going to be Renekton, which is one of the other things that he has played in this split so far. Yeah, but they banned that. And it's funny because actually, I want to bring this up since I talked to Chad and Joey recently. And they told me that last year when Concept was on the team, they always would say, oh, we should play Renekton. And Concept was like, I don't like that champion. I'll never learn how to play that champion. And then first game of this year, he plays Renekton. And Chad and Joey were both like, what's this? I thought you said you were never going to play this champ.
I mean, it's just how it goes. Like that's why I was saying at the top of the show, shout out to Concept for learning more of the meta champions. We're seeing him really flex that going through here. And we're going to see what he's going to play because it is going to be Ashe AD carry like you talked about, man.
I called it. I'm actually surprised I called that one. I didn't think it was going to be Nautilus. I was hoping for something a little bit spicier. But this is also good zone control. Ashe is an annoying lane to deal with, especially as ADC, with all the wave clear and the poke that you can provide. But now we get into the last parts of the picks. Gangplank for ADD, blind up against Concept. I'm curious to see Concept, that Tryndamere that we were talking about before that had been highlighted, is something that fares fairly well against Gangplank.
That would be an interesting pickup. I mean, you already have a lot of all-in CC. You have a great team fighting core just with what we've seen so far. So we could see Concept go for something tankier, go for a split push build. And speaking of splitting, my God, we're seeing the Twisted Fate for Balulu.
Yeah, that one's a crazy one to see busted out here. Yeah. Vel'Koz open, even knowing what it's against, but Kassadin is not a good matchup for Vel'Koz to face off against because once you hit level 6, Vel'Koz just struggles into that lane. Sure, you win the lane phase, but we've talked about this before. I like this Twisted Fate because not only will you be able to get the priority in lane, but then you can rotate around and Concept. Wait, is that Concept on Olaf?
That's Concept Olaf.
Oh, man. Because I was wondering if maybe... Right. I'm wondering if they just go for the ultimate switcheroo, though.
He's got Ghost.
So yeah, Olaf does really well into Gangplank, so I doubt they'd really want to switch that.
Yeah, I think I like that as a last pick coming through here. I think the big thing to highlight is that Balulu on this Twisted Fate is very interesting because we talk about it all the time. Kassadin, very popular for good reason. But this means that champs like Rise and now Twisted Fate, of course, fits into this where you can get out of lane very easily post 6 in those earlier minutes of the game, and you're going to have an easy time making cross-map plays, affecting other parts of the map here. I mean, you have Lucian Nami, great to play for inside. You have Gangplank, great to play for inside. So Immortals Challengers, very clear idea of what they want to be doing with this comp. And, well, I mean, they need to get things going early on because we got Castle win on the other side.
Well, I was about to say, it's not like Golden Guardians don't have abilities to play on the side either. Good wave clear from Ashe, plus Kassadin and Olaf in side lanes. So diving into game 2 of our best of 2 between Immortals Challengers and Golden Guardians Challengers. We have possibility for some shenaniganeries. Golden Guardians are all grouped up and piling down mid.
I mean, this is great. This is the beauty of Nautilus. Your level 1 is pretty good, all things considered.
And Balulu spots it. Flash! Nice flash from Balulu.
Perfect. And I mean, that sets up a pretty early play for Rosethorn if he wants it in the earlier parts of the lane, because that's what happens when you get something like a Kassadin. That's where you expect a lot of attention to go here. And we're just taking a look to see who the audience thinks is going to win. Spam GGC if you think Golden Guardians will win. Spam IMTC if you think it's Immortals. And so far, game 1, I think had a sway on everyone's opinion, Magical. I don't know about you.
Just a little bit, just a little bit. Especially because Array, ended the game 11-0. They were going to pad the KDA a little bit more, but, when they started losing the fight, they're just like, let's win. Let's win this game. And so going into this game, I know that the polls are quite polar opposite here, but IMT, I think, do have good ways to win this game and bounce back. I'm curious to see how this bot lane especially will go for Wixie and Joey, since last time they started off with an early lead, but it was just a couple of those ganks that Rosethorn paid visits into the bot lane that put them in a position where they could no longer carry or bounce back into the game at all. This time it's Lucian, a lot more slippery.
Oh, I mean...
Joey's got flash, got heal. Hasn't used it just yet. There's the flash. There's the heal. Underneath the turret. Auto! It actually connected. I didn't think it was going to work out, but Array proves me wrong.
Array trying to prove himself, as we talked about. First blood twice in a row. Oh, sorry, buddy. Oh, he gets to walk away.
Gets to walk away. There's going to be the Spider-Man out from Prismal. And Array getting a lot of pock shots at Chad as he runs away. Yeah, look at this.
You love to see it. No summoners were already forced out, but no opportunity for the kill here. And already a strong start once more for Golden Guardians. And I'm glad we're panning over to mid, because the mid's where we have, of course, a lot of interest in. One, Young had a great game. I believe it was against perhaps TSM on this Kassadin. Is going to have that opportunity to pilot again. But we're going to take a look at this replay. At this point, you can't run.
No, you had to flash the hook first. Yep. If you don't flash away from that, you're doomed. It was all too late out of Joey, and unfortunately, just meant an early kill for Array. Getting that first blood, going to come back into lane with a dagger and some boots to be able to bully a little bit against Wixie. As Rosethorn, he's making plays on the other side of the map, looking for ADD in the top lane, who has Ghost instead of Flash, and so he tries to get out of there, but the oranges don't make it okay.
No, that's I'm really glad you pointed that out. Yeah, so that is a really good punish from Rosethorn, because it's just once you get on top of them, once you manage to stack that E passive, it's really easy to take down ADD. And it's good because ADD, one of the sides they're playing for this game. So putting him down early, forcing him to teleport back with just a longsword instead of Sheen, as Gangplank loves to do, is just going to make this lane that much easier for Concept. And it's off the back of Chad's play bottom. He went there after clearing one camp, and you just give that information like, well, he's not going to be top for a while, so it's an easy play to make here as Golden Guardians, Rosethorn in particular, starting off once again, well, along with Array.
Hey, this is great from Rosethorn, because usually when you have a game against Chad, it's always Chad, what plays he makes, how people answer him. It's always reactive. We even saw that last game. But this game, it has been the proactivity of the lanes, where you look at the bot lane, how Array and Prismal win that 2v2, getting the first blood for Array. Sure, the lane's still not going to be great because it's a Lucian Nami lane, but getting that gold early on will help you out. Then top lane, Rosethorn, level 3, looks for ADD since he has Ghost and not Flash.
And I mean, Rosethorn is a player I think a lot of us at this level praised very highly for his ability to get these early leads for his laners, and he's going to look for another one here.
Okay, but they're spotted out. Chad knew that Rosethorn was there, having spotted out and flashing. Here's Balulu getting the flash away from Rosethorn, and thankfully, he had gotten that shrine from the Scuttle Crab, so he was able to get that movement speed away from the gold card. Those are good summoners burned, but having to burn your own out of Chad is going to make it hard. But right now, Concept, he might be a level up on ADD, but he's got to be careful playing around those barrels of ADD, since he's got to get right into the thick of it if he wants to get rid of it. And look at the poke that ADD is able to unleash each and every time, even trying to get the shield. And Concept, it is Gangplank. It's hard. Olaf and Gangplank, they both can sustain pretty well. They've got their shields, and I doubt that they're done.
No, I imagine another fight's going to come through here. And so far, this early game, pretty quiet. Besides the two plays we've seen so far, and Rosethorn just taking this opportunity to try and steal some camps away. And I love it, being a nuisance, especially with your bot lane having the lead they have. You feel a lot better about going for these invades and securing early objectives. And I think this is great, too, for a team where you are playing for late. You get this early dragon. Sure, you can stack to soul if you want to, but really, it's just to make sure Immortals don't have that opportunity.
Well, I think Golden Guardians, they need to look for this dragon because they got the smite out of Chad on Raptors. They know he's already burned that, but they're too timid. They're afraid of the rotation. And here's the Destiny Gate opened up, looking for the gold card. There it is. Gonna get the stun. Looking for Array. Trying to flash away. Balulu gets his heal. He's still alive, but the flash from Balulu. There it is. The empowered auto picks up the kill with Prismal, Spider-Man back towards the turret. Balulu getting a lot of damage, but they've already made the play. They've got the kill. They've already got control of the jungle, and they can look to rotate around, forcing Rosethorn out of his jungle.
And that should mean that it will be an easy Drake pickup, but at the very least, you managed to get some gold on the board, and we're seeing a taste of what Balulu's able to do on this Twisted Faith pick. That was the first Destiny, and there's going to be several more where that came from, Alex. He is going to be all over this map, and that's something Golden Guardians need to be aware of.
But at the moment, you did have to sacrifice a good amount against Kassadin. You see the CS lead that Young was able to capitalize on when he made that journey, looking for that play. It was a long time just to get the kill onto Array.
Right, and I mean, as Young, realistically, with all those plays happening, he's like, oh, sorry, guys, I can't match. You know how it goes. I'm just going to be here.
It's the countdown. It's the doomsday clock. He's like, I gotta get up to 16, guys. You know, clock hasn't struck 0 yet.
I'm going to be real. like the meme about like the level 16 champs, like it's technically a thing. He becomes a nightmare then. But I think at level 11,
he's still pretty,
he's going to be still pretty nuts, especially once you get the Roa stacking, the Seraphs. Like that's when Young becomes a serious problem, and that's the thing to look out for.
No, I completely agree. It's just I always like going with it just because Doomsday Clock.
Yeah, I like the meme.
Ooh, I like this play from Prismo. Looking for Balulu, who used Flash beforehand, so they can layer up all the CC onto Balulu underneath the turret, and they can look to whittle him down. It's a blue card, not the gold card needed to try to turn around an extra kill.
And look who they gave it to, Alex. Cassidy.
Young!
That's what you love to see, and it's perfect. Like you said, taking advantage of no flash. Oh, he's okay.
No, he should be fine. He had flash available too. Riftwalk was only a second off cooldown.
Yep. So you get the wave in, you get to walk back to the mid lane. Golden Guardians, I think getting a lot of what they want early on. We're seeing plays from Immortals too, and when that Destiny comes back soon, that's what to keep an eye on. Maybe we see a play towards that top side. I mean, it is a little harder with Olaf if he has the ult up. You aren't going to be able to necessarily take full advantage of the yellow card, but overall there's still a lot of opportunities for a Balulu to influence the map.
Well, because the whole point of Twisted Fate isn't even to win lane. It is about roaming around the map, making plays inside lanes, trying to get Wixie ahead, trying to see if you can help out ADD at all. And we saw one play, getting the kill onto Array, helping out the bot lane a little bit, even if Wixie didn't get an assist on it. At least it got him control of the bot lane even more so.
Whoa, can we take a second, Magical? Speaking of control, Concept's taking control of top lane.
Oh, yeah, he is.
He's up 30-some-odd CS. He is ADD hugging his tower, and it just makes it easy setup for Rosethorn to be able to secure the Herald. Level 6, Chad. Doesn't mean a dive is available here.
Yeah, I don't think they want to go for it. It is going to be a trade, a couple plates in the bot lane for Rift Herald as Rosethorn was on that neutral objective, which to me indicates that maybe we shouldn't see this dive. We should instead look for the play elsewhere, but they're sending everyone to look for the play. They got the kill into Array. There was a cancel on that teleport gate from Young to make sure it is a 2-for-1 instead of just a 2-for-0, but it's still a big play by IMT.
Yeah, and you're seeing the globals really come in clutch for Immortals Challenger. So they managed to get the dive off successfully. That's a double kill for Wixie, and you get the wave in. Even with the Ray answering back, that is a positive play for Immortals. This is what we want to be seeing, and this is where they are strongest, when they can make use of these abilities. And you can see it, the wave's in, and as soon as the ability for AD to get that ultimate off comes through, the call is made. Like, they can't run, there's nowhere to go, so it's an easy dive setup. Array did his best, but he was doing.
Did you see on the minimap that the Destiny gate opened, but it was just the cancel on the channel that Caston can do? Had he shown up, it would probably be, like I said, it would have probably been a 2-0, immediate dragon afterwards. So Young does at least get something back for the play to make it so it's not absolutely devastating.
Right, and I mean, realistically, you're not playing. I mean, Ashe does damage. That's not why you're picking this champion. Like, you're okay with falling behind a little bit with gold and things like that. Your arrow that we've seen so much from the support position is one of the most useful abilities that Array's going to be using here. So, like, realistically, Immortals, they need to keep this up if they want to get Wixie in a place where he can have that crazy impact. And I mean, 2-1 is a good start. You want to keep things going. Balulu stacking the Roa, which is really important as well. Young hasn't actually built his yet.
Not yet, having gone for that tier of the goddess. Needing to stack that up as well, so you can get towards your Seraphs. But in bot lane, we have to put a little bit of a pause on things, because there was an attempt from both junglers, but both of them spotting one another out. Since Dragon is available, with Rift Herald in the inventory of Rosethorn, is that about to... No, that's not about to time out, is it?
The Herald? No, it's halfway. It's halfway.
Okay, halfway. Cool. Because it looked a little bit weird with the score, the vision score.
Yeah, it's starting to crest just to the left of that 9. So there's a lot of chances there for Rosethorn to be able to use it, and maybe mid is what he wants.
Possibly. It's hard to crack against Twisted Fate mid lane turrets because he does have really good wave clear. Like I said, not really going to win the lane, but you're going to have a good wave clear. Nice body block from Chad, eating the Glacial Prison, getting the knock up onto Young, who has to use the Rift Walk away. Cyclone doesn't hit up on the second time. Arrow missing. Barely.
And that's a great read from Chad, realistically, knowing that the whole early game's been about Young for the most part, and expects that Herald is going to go into the mid lane. So blocking that Glacial Prison was such a big part of that fight
Huge.
on top of the damage and CC. Problem is...
Rinse and repeat, though. You look for the play once again. Balulu flashing, but all too late. Underneath the turret. Gold card? Well, at least get a little bit of damage, saving his life. But Rustler's still not popping that eye. Looking instead to look topside and get Concept on an even bigger lead.
Because this is why you get Balulu out. He will have to teleport if he wants to save his top laner, but you make it so that he can't respond immediately, and that's the thing to be happy about.
Here comes the cannon barrage. Goes. Whoa! The stopwatch just in time. That's a Destiny Gate open. Gold card not in range. Plus Concept having already used his Ghost and Ragnarok could have been a target, but they don't need it. They've saved the top lane.
Yeah, that's Teleport and Destiny used up just to prevent the dive from coming through.
Okay,
Herald is gonna... Yeah, what's up?
Now the Rift Herald is almost up.
Yes, exactly. Now it's about the timeout. I'm very interested in where. It looks like it's being summoned.
Just topside. Topside. Yeah.
There you go. So it's going to get there eventually. I mean, with all things considered, Concept, I think, should have an easy time escorting it into the top turret.
Oh, yeah.
Unless the whole team just walks up topside.
He doesn't have Ragnarok or Ghost. He is a free target at the moment. They could possibly even look for the dive on him because he's gone for Ravenous Hydra as his first item, so he's not inherently tanky.
All right, but he's going to walk away. So Herald looks like it won't be a successful charge. Nope. But ultimately... Wait, it's just...
Wait. There we go. There we go.
Okay.
We were both like... It's just like, screw you guys. I want the turret. You guys mean nothing to me.
So no plates, but all that attention topside means what? Your bottom camps up for grabs. You can see Rosethorn going ahead and helping himself to the red buff. It means ADD can't really be farming these waves as much as he'd like to, and it means Young on Kassadin continues to get these plates, all this extra gold in his favor. And now how are we going to transition into the mid lane here? I mean, Immortals get here first, so you got to take the long way as Golden Guardians, and it does mean that you shouldn't be able to get the dragon. You shouldn't be able to touch the dragon first as Golden Guardians.
No, and looking at how the plays are on the other side of the map, Concept had TP'd into the top lane to secure this turret since plates have fallen. Should be easily taken since ADD, bot lane, no cannon barrage available. Balulu, he'll just be a little too late to stop the structure and that extra bit of gold going into Concept's pocket.
Yeah, speaking of gold in Concept's pocket, I really want to see the gold differences at the moment here, but there's a play.
Is it? Waiting for it.
Ragnarok is up.
They've got the three-way pinch on to Concept. He's got Ragnarok available this time around. So that's going to be the Cyclone, but it's disabled. Using Ragnarok, looking for the CC, but he's got so much damage onto Chad. The flash barely will save Chad's life.
But that's a feels bad magical shutdown going on to the support is a little unlucky here. You really
full AP support, baby. Let's go.
Oh, we definitely don't want that. But now we get to see a look at the gold, and it's only getting worse for Mr. ADD.
Anything you can do, I can do better. Golden Guardian's looking for the play on ADD. He doesn't even eat the oranges just yet. He knows there's not really a way for him to survive, so he just sacrifices his life instead.
And that's another turret for Young in the bottom side and full control over the dragon pit. And it turns out, actually, now that I'm looking at it, this is the first dragon coming through here. Again, if you're Golden Guardians, you don't care about the soul, realistically. And at this point, it's just going to be a very late soul no matter who ends up picking it up. And you can see this gold lead starting to increase ever so slightly in Golden Guardians' favor. We're taking a look at gold again, and look at where Young is at the moment. 1,200 gold up on Balulu. Kills, CS, all in his favor. And we're getting pretty close to that point where, like you said, the doomsday clock is starting to run out.
And they're not getting the gold into the players they need to. The reason you pick that Twisted Fate is you know you're not going to get these leads over Young. This is an expected deficit. But you need to make sure you're making up for it in other lanes. You have barely a 200 gold lead for Wakesy, kind of fluctuating back and forth. You have a deficit in the top lane by 1.5k. This is not the results that you need if you're going to utilize this Twisted Fate to overcome the monster that is going to be this level 11 Kassadin.
Right, you have a lot of ways to get the CC down with the yellow card with the Cyclone. So that's what Immortals are going to be banking on in these team fights. But for the moment, they don't have the gas. They're going to let go of another neutral objective. It will be that Rift Herald, exactly. And at least you're happy as ADD. You finally get some breathing room. You finally get a chance to get more gold into your pocket, even though turret maybe not.
It's not going to go down. Like you talked about, level 11 Kassadin still very mobile. It's not quite the 1.5 second cooldown that you have on Rift Walk, but it's something like 3 seconds, 4 seconds. So you can still move around the map a lot. As Wixie, that was a nice cleanse, but unfortunately, he's way out of position, had to flash away. But they got the kill on Array anyways, with exhaust on a Rosethorn. Prismal not getting the flash over the wall, so Chad can continue to chase while Concept looks for the flank. Young is here as well. ADD has not even tried to join in the fight. They've got Chad. He goes deep, getting a little bit of damage, but he's frozen. He's killed off by Concept, his former teammate.
That's a really nice understanding of your limits there. It's a good start of the play for Immortals. They managed to get the pick they're looking for. The bait is wonderful. But the move from Concept, the move from Young, Immortals underestimate how much they're still able to do from the position they were in, and they managed to get another one back. Young is really coming online. You see this bouncy that he's got over his head, and overall, I think we really got to highlight Concept for how much of a good game he's having.
Seriously, this is the Concept we knew and love in the 2022 season, playing champions that are very quintessentially his. But we look at this play, Wixie barely surviving that hook. He was able to flash over it somehow, and had that connected this fight completely is Golden Guardians.
Right, but you end up managing to make it happen here as Immortals. The problem is you overchase just a little bit, and look what happens. The re-engage comes through. Young flashes the Aqua Prison, and at that point, there was no way you're going to be able to take him out of the picture. It's just more gold in the pockets of Golden Guardians, who are maintaining the steady lead they have going for themselves, and it's just getting worse, because look at Young. 4 minutes away from Roa fully stacked, and very soon we'll have that Seraphs. And we're at that point where a lot of coordination is how you're going to be able to do something about this as Immortals.
But silver linings, beatdown. Silver linings. ADD did get that turret eventually in the bot lane, getting a little bit more gold this Gangplank desperately needs. And here, with the Rift Herald being popped mid lane, it's going to be spread around amongst 4 players. Sure, that's gold that Golden Guardians obviously will want, but now there's a potential fight with all that damage onto Prismal, getting the kill instantly as Chad still somehow is alive on the backside of the fight. The TP from Concept's a little too late to defend the team, and now they're looking to see if they can throw this back around in their face. They've got the bubble on it too, but that's going to be Ragnarok chasing down ADD, calling, eaten up completely by Concept. So many low health bars on IMTC, but the flash in with a gold card, looking for the wild cards.
Young.
Not enough though. Everybody somehow low yet still alive.
All except for Prismal, who got taken out from the jump. And it's a really nice play coming through from Immortals, making use of the cannon barrage. And of course, the teleport there from ADD to be able to get something back. Unfortunately, no objective to be able to trade. But you do get that little bit of breathing room. You do get some extra gold into your pockets. And ADD gets that nice double barrel into Concept. Realistically, I don't think you can run him down. But
no.
Right now, Immortals have this time on the map to be able to clear up vision and do, well, exactly this. Because Rosethorn, he can't exactly be there.
Yeah, but they're still low health bars on IMT, and look at how Array and Prismal are now looking for the collapse. But Prismal, he's so squishy as this Nautilus. What can he do as Chad gets jumped on, looking for the kill for Young again, but he flashed over the wall to avoid danger once more.
And again, this is how things work with Nautilus nowadays. A glacial means you're way squishier, and it's just so easy for Prismal. If he takes a bad engage, if he just gets caught out, even if he takes the right engage magical, he's just going to get torn to pieces. And it only gets harder as the members of Immortals start to scale up. And we're seeing it. Balulu.
Bro.
What's up?
There's a Magi's for Joey. He's got Magi's on Nami. Yes, let's go.
Wait, I actually kind of rate that. That's kind of funny. But we're going to take a look at this fight here. Again, Prismal thinks he has the opportunity, but you never quite know where Twisted Fate can pop up when he has the Destiny available. Another attempt to try and get something back from Golden Guardians isn't quite enough. Chad invests the flash so he can walk away with his life. And these are the little ways that you're seeing Immortals get themselves back into this. They're taking these small trades that are going in their favor, and they have been pretty consistent.
And they're getting the items they need as well. Sure, it's going to be the second dragon picked up by Golden Guardians, but you've got that Immortal Shield bow to allow more plays for ADD against Concept. You've got the Lichbane for Balulu just finished. 2 items on Wixie. You're feeling far more powerful, like you can actually contend against Golden Guardians, but the problem is, it is nearly equated across the map, outside of bot lane.
So the Lichbane second is an interesting decision. A lot of TFs go for the RFC, for the range on the gold card. But you got a lot of short range here. I mean, Kassadin's melee, Ashe is really the only ranged champion you're dealing with. So that extra damage, that burst like you highlighted, is what they're looking to get done here. Now, big objective with Dragon 4 minutes away is the Baron, and you can see it. No vision on the map. And they're
Destiny
actually just
Gate
going to be
either.
hitting it. That's right. So you don't get that true sight. It will be up soon. They might just
It's
pop
going to be
it.
up soon, but it's getting bursted low. That cannon barrage spots it out. Crystal tries to go over the wall, but here's a tidal wave getting a lot of damage on him. Initially, Chad in the pit,
Oh,
but
he
couldn't steal it.
tried.
It was secured by Concept. 1-for-1 at the moment. They can continue to look for the fight if they want to, but they got to be careful. Barrel getting a lot of damage on Array on the other side, dodging away from front of the CC. But Young almost taking Wixie out. They've got him. That's Golden Guardians cleaning up the house with IMT.
So well played from Golden Guardians. Everything about that start to finish. As soon as Chad gets in the pit, they all stop hitting the Baron, and he ends up smiting too early. And the ace ended up coming through on the top side, and we'll take a look here. You see, you have eyes on Chad. As soon as he's stunned up, the Baron is sitting at 1,600 health, and you can see it. He tries the full combo, go for the smite, but it just isn't enough. Still very disciplined from Golden Guardians, and so nice from Young on the signature pick.
Like, watch this. Just this damage he gets from jumping in initially, getting the flash out of Wixie. Everyone split. It was a beautiful fight at that moment from Golden Guardians.
And with that, on top of the Baron Magical, means this gold lead has suddenly ballooned up to 5 or 6K actually. Objective bounties are up. 2 dragons to Golden Guardian's name means this bottom side of the map is what they are focused on. Mid and bot, these are the lanes they'll be playing through. And this jungle, realistically, Chad, it's not yours. I'm sorry. You
Not
can't be here
anymore. The game was so close up till that point.
It
looked
was.
like IMT were clawing themselves slowly back into the game. They foothold. They're less than 1,000 gold behind Golden Guardians at that point. But it was a beautiful fight, splitting them all up with how squishy they are as well. That has netted them full control of the Rift, where they can go into any lane. Even look at Young. They have a 1-4 set up, but what can they do to stop them? They can look for the pick on Young, but he can escape. He's level 16, while the rest of the team is in the base, ending the game, IMT. Yeah, gotta turn around and stop that if you want any hope to remain.
Man, it'd be such a big deal if you can get this casted and pick up his shutdown, but they can't do it. Even without Flash, like you said, level 16, and Young, who's here, they want to fight.
The doomsday clock has ticked 0. This is Golden Guardians' game. This is their 2-0 victory over Immortals Progressive Challengers off the back of everyone pulling their weight. First game, Array smacked them with Zeri. This game, Young on Kassadin, hitting level 16, and even prior to that was unstoppable.
Array said, Magical, that last week was a wake-up call. Well, Golden Guardians are awake, man, and they're here to play.
Clearly, that looked like a clean game, a clean series out of them. A couple of hiccups here and there, but when they are on point, the shot calling they clearly have together, they were all on the same wavelength, like you talked about around Baron, where they peeled, stopped hitting it so they could focus on Chad. He smote just ever so early. It was down to 100 health after his smite. That's how early it was, and he had to because he needed the heal as well. He wasn't going to survive with all the burst that was being laid on him beforehand.
Right, and I mean, just overall start to finish, clean series from Immortals. You got to give them a lot of credit, or not Immortals, excuse me, Golden Guardians. A lot of credit from how things started off. Both of these teams went into this series 2-4, and unfortunately, only one of them gets to walk out at 4-3.
Bouncing back. Oh, 4-3, 4-4.
Oh,
because that best of twos. So it's got.
Yes, Matt, you're right.
It's got to be multiples like that. So they're at 4-4, but good for Golden Guardians to get. I mean, that first game was very clean. This game, it was well fought, but once they got that lead, once they were all working as a team, a single unit, they were able to cleanly take that victory home for this 2-0. We're going to toss to a break. When we come back, we'll have Kangas back with us, and hopefully with the player interview as well. Make sure you stay tuned.
Hello, everybody. We're back with our post-series interview with the victorious Young from Golden Guardians Challengers after a 2-0 victory. But Young, your week did not start with Challengers League this weekend. No, you have had a busy week, my friend. Walk me through the week kind of from your perspective, because it has just been back-to-back games for you.
Yeah, so I found out I was going to play LCS like a week ago, so I started like scrimming with them for like the whole week. And then played the LCS games, ran it down yesterday. or 2 days ago. And then I just jumped right into the CAD games.
I will say, I think from an outside perspective, you did not run it down. I know that we can be our harshest critics, but your time at the LCS, there were definitely a lot of people that I was talking with saying they were impressed with how confident you were playing in that circumstance. Has that translated to now the Challengers League games? I mean, you've played a couple games, 4 now since your LCS debut.
Yeah.
Have you noticed any change already in your own play?
Yeah, honestly, like, the pressure's way lower. Like, I'm just chilling at home. There's, like, no stage, so it's like Disneyland, honestly.
See, we have very different experiences at Disneyland. Disneyland's a very stressful place, usually. There's lines everywhere. There's just a bunch of people screaming. But I'm happy that you at least enjoy your time there. Going back to the game that we just played, or the series, rather, Balulu is an interesting player coming in from the Turkish League into the Challengers League now. Notable for long-range champions like the Vel'Koz, for example. You did get to play against Vel'Koz. What did you think about that? What was the reasoning behind it? Were you just not intimidated, so you purposefully left it up? What was going on there?
I honestly had no idea anything about him. I heard he's really good though, but I mean, he did actually do well in lane. Like, I remember walking back in lane and he ulted me for all my health, and I was like, what is this champ? But yeah.
So where are we placing that? Because we can't just let you get away with that, not knowing anything about your lane opponent. Is this on you or is this on the coaching staff? Where are we placing the blame?
It's more on me. I should have done like the night before. My coach messaged me you should watch this guy. His Zoe popped up yesterday. You want to ban Zoe? We were just talking about that. So it was more on me. I just wanted to relax.
Okay. Well, I mean, again, you had a long, busy week, so maybe that was earned on your end. But what'd you think about him now after the games? I mean, you said that very aggressive, piloting the Vel'Koz, but he's newer to the scene for all of us. So from a player perspective, how would you kind of rate his performance today?
I think he did all right. The Vel'Koz game, he was doing well in lane. I definitely think in the TF game, he didn't play the matchup as well as he should have. He kind of just let me scale for free. But honestly, today just felt like a team gap, so I don't really have much to say.
The team is coming together. I'd love to actually dig into that a little bit more. Aspirations going forward. A lot of week 2 here on our side, on the broadcast. We're thinking, okay, this is where we get to set expectations for teams. We saw a little bit of your play from week 1. And now after a couple more games here, we can start to identify team identities. How would you identify the current Golden Guardians challengers, kind of your power level going into now week 3 coming up?
Yeah, I'm really impressed. So I haven't scrimmed with any of them for a week and a half. So this is my first time playing with them in a while, and they really improved since the last time I played with them. I think just everything got better, decision making, early game, just trading on the map. So I think we can definitely contend for one of the best teams if we keep improving at this rate.
Are you allowed to share who was scrimming with them then, or is that secret information?
Not sure. It was. I mean, I guess I'll just say it. Darkwing stepped in for a little bit, and then
cool.
Nemesis 9 did a little bit. So.
Oh. Okay, nice. Well, shout-outs to the players helping out Golden Guardians Challengers while Young was, of course, scrimming with the LCS team. We did learn a bit of information about you as a person yesterday or rather 2 days ago at LCS. You had a bunch of friends in the audience cheering you on. Me and Mazel got to actually chat with them. It was super cool. And they let slip that they have a nickname for you, Young Alien.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to dig into that a little bit here because that can go many different directions. As a young alien yourself, what universe has the best aliens? Is it the Alien vs. Predator universe, Lilo and Stitch universe, or Star Trek? And then defend your answer.
I'll just say Lilo and Stitch because Lilo's cute. Or which one is it? Stitch? I don't know which one.
I think it's Stitch. Well, but I mean, hey, if you want to admit that you think Lilo is cute as well.
No, I'm good.
Okay, Lilo and Stitch. A very aesthetic design, or very unique aesthetic design to those aliens, right? Very, very rounded, very cute.
Yeah.
All right, I can roll with that. Well, thank you, Young, for coming on. Any final words for anybody out there watching?
Thanks for watching the games. I hope you guys can support us and our team. And yeah.
All right, well, eyes will be on you definitely, Young, going forward, not only from your LCS performance, but your immaculate performances here at the Challengers League. Thanks so much for coming on. We're going to send it to a short break before we're back for our second series of the day.
Thank you.